Welcome to On the Corner of Main Street, presented by Plaza Hotel and Casino in downtown Las Vegas. Here is Plaza CEO Jonathan Jossel, Gary Vickery, and I'm your host, Lisa Melmed. How's everybody doing today?
Good. It's another great afternoon here in downtown Las Vegas. Jonathan, how are you today?
Doing good, guys. Thank you. Nice to be back on the podcast, and nice to see good momentum behind the podcast as we keep doing this now every week and becoming more reliable with our schedule. It's fun. I'm enjoying it.
It is fun. I am too.
This is episode number 21, right?
Wow.
Yeah, this is already episode number 21. Can you believe we've been doing it for almost a half a year now?
It's legal drinking age. Our little baby's growing up.
Yes, indeed.
So yesterday we met about New Year's Eve. What are we going to do for New Year's Eve 2021? Last New Year's Eve, we had quite a party, fireworks, of course, and Doug Stanhope was the comedian here. He sold out, and the crowd was just amazing. It was such a good vibe, so much fun.
And tickets sold out in 48 hours for that
What's
Yeah,
the
he's
way?
New Year's Eve
popular.
show?
He's got a very loyal following, that guy. It's pretty amazing.
We're very fortunate today because he's going to join us. Why do you think we had him on this podcast episode?
So, I mean, you see a lot of podcasts these days where comedians are interviewing comedians and doing that. They're getting a lot of airtime these days. And for us, we definitely don't specialize in comedians. But we did start last year our comedy club. And through that process, we have met a lot of comedians. But no one has been as successful for the Plaza as Doug Stanhope. I think he's done 6, maybe more shows here over the course of the last couple of years. And he's got a loyal following, and he always says how much he enjoys the Plaza, how much he likes staying here, coming here. So he's become like one of our headliners in a way, and it's become synonymous with the Plaza. Everyone knows when he plays Vegas, he plays the Plaza. And so for me, it was an opportunity to get someone on who's become a entertainment guy here that we can rely on. I think we'll do many more shows with him in the future. And because of the governor's announcement yesterday that we can start doing up to 250 people in a gathering, we can actually start planning to bring back the comedy club, which we will start doing maybe in November. So this ties into the comedy club, plus the fact that Doug is such an advocate of the Plaza, and we have a good relationship with him. So it was a good opportunity to bring him on, and very different content to what we normally talk about, but he's an interesting guy.
This is going to be an exciting podcast coming up. I guarantee it.
Today, we are joined by the hilarious comedian and podcast host, Doug Stanhope. Welcome to On the Corner of Main Street.
Good afternoon, or
Good
evening,
afternoon.
or whenever you put this out.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us here, Doug. I know we had to do this remotely, but we appreciate you taking the time. Where are you right now?
I'm at home. I've been working my ass off every day, and I didn't think to make my backdrop the Plaza Hotel giant 5-foot sign that Gary gave me last time I played there.
You totally should have done that for us. That would have been
Well,
nice.
you should have. You have the picture, but the rest of your set looks like this is exactly what a pitch meeting in Hollywood feels like if the network had just let go most of its staff.
This is all you have left. 3 clowns sitting here. Well,
Yes, you're really bringing all the glitz and glamour of the Fremont Street experience into a shambles of white and nothing.
I feel very bad about that. I will tell you, we don't normally do our podcasts by video, so the backdrop is normally in Oscar Steakhouse with a martini and a little bit more elegant than this later. What did you call it?
Wait. Let me get this right. You don't usually do video, so you have a perfect backdrop for audio.
Exactly.
But now that we're doing video, fuck the backdrop.
Now the backdrop is pretty terrible. You're right. We should have chosen a better location, guys. We're going to fix this. I wanted to ask you, Doug, and this is something I've been wondering about since we realized we were going to be able to do this podcast with you. And I think in our introduction, we talked a little bit about why you are so relevant and special to the Plaza. So when you hear this, you'll understand the context is, you're basically the one person we point to as a guy who's been able to make our room successful as a comedy club. And I think you've done at least 6 shows in that room, maybe more now, actually.
Yeah, not as many as I would have liked to.
Well, that's going to change. We're going to be doing a lot more when we can. But the point is, you've just been an amazing draw for the Plaza. But what I really wanted to understand from you, and maybe you can give us some background to this, because you normally do podcasts with other funny people, is what what point do you realize you can be a stand-up comedian? Like, what is the process to that? Does somebody tell you like, "Hey, you're pretty funny," or is there a process to becoming a stand-up comedian?
Well, a lot of people are really funny, but they wouldn't be able to do it on stage in a amount of time in a 45-minute block. And a lot of people that are really funny on stage, you wonder why off stage anyone would have ever told them they should do stand up. Some stand ups, and the older I get, the more boring I get off stage. I would say a lot of funny shit. I don't need to.
Right.
You know, when I was a kid, I was always trying to be funny because it was a form of plumage for ladies, or a defense mechanism, or whatever.
Did it work well for you?
Yeah, it worked pretty good.
Nice.
If you have low standards.
But was there a point, like, what is the process to becoming, where did you start? Speaking for Doug, where was your first gig? How did you get into this? Where did it all begin?
I lived in Las Vegas, and I was doing gray area fraud telemarketing, which was huge back in the late 80s, early 90s. It was Nevada's second biggest industry.
Doug, is it true you lived at the Fun City Motel?
That was one of the first places I lived, was weekly rentals at the Fun City Motel, which is still there.
Where is that?
Sahara and the Strip.
Yeah, Las Vegas Boulevard, yeah.
Yeah, it's very, very sketchy.
It's got one of the most iconic signs. I think it's a Holiday Motel. Next to the Holiday Motel, Fun Motel.
Fun City Motel. It's almost as iconic as the Clown Motel.
Exactly, yes. Yeah. So you were living there. What year is this?
I moved there the first time in 1986. And my first job doing sketchy telemarketing was on Industrial Boulevard back then. And I was working for a gentleman called Steve Sisolak, who you might know in Nevada as now the governor.
Right.
I got fired from fraudulent telemarketing for customer abuse.
Hold on, Steve was running an illegal telemarketing gig?
No, it wasn't illegal. That's why I was very careful to say gray area fraudulent.
Wow.
You know,
What did you say to the customer that got you fired?
A stroker in the telemarketing business is someone who knows it's a scam, but lets you go through the entire pitch pretending like they're believing it and they're going to buy from you. And then at the end, they tell you to go fuck yourself. So this guy just stroked me unbelievably on a huge order. I was already spending the commission in my head. And at the end, he goes, "Nah, I'm not interested," and hung up. And I realized the lead that I was working off of was an order form where he had gotten scammed before and his credit card was still on it. So I called him back and I went, "Yeah, you think it's funny to waste my time? Hey, what's this number? 54176." I read the card number back to him. I go, "Does that sound like your credit card? When I get home, I'm going to order every ad I see for Ginsu knives or Ronco records. I'm going to order 1,000 of them to your house on your credit card." But I forgot I'd already given him my fake name and the company phone number. So he called back, and Steve Sisolak, he ran a pretty tight ship for a shady operation. Yeah, he stormed in and
what a story
clean out
this
my
is.
desk on the spot.
Oh me, oh my.
So then you went from the motel in your shady call center.
Yeah. So yeah, I did that, and I goofed off. It wasn't until 1990 that I found an open mic over at, it was Maryland and Flamingo. It was a bar. It's now called the Dive Bar. It's still there.
Yeah, of course.
It's called the Escape Lounge 2, and they did an open mic every week. And I used to go there, and I'd ask if I could go up next week, every week, till it was a running joke. "Yeah, sure. Next week you'll go up." But I finally wrote 5 minutes of dick jokes and went up and kept going up. And
Rest is history. Kept going up and then kept going up until you basically made it to bigger rooms.
yeah, but it was very strange because starting in Vegas, none of the major clubs, the strip clubs, clubs on the strip,
Yeah,
comedy
not
clubs
the
would
strip
touch
clubs.
locals. So you never, like any other city, I didn't know then, but any other city, there'd be a funny bone or an improv that had an open mic once a week. So the club would get to know you and then move you up. That didn't happen in Vegas. So there was only open micers living in a vacuum, never seeing pros work, never working with pros. So it wasn't until I left and moved to Phoenix that I was actually hired by the Improv at the Riviera. Yeah, it's a terrible place to start, but I didn't know that.
Is there a reason that you're so much more popular when you come to Vegas, or you just is that the same wherever you go in the country? You have this loyal, dedicated group of fans that come to you wherever you are.
I do have a very tenacious niche audience, and I think that when I play Vegas, yeah, people go, "Oh, he's playing Vegas. We're looking for an excuse to go." And my fans are also definitely cut out for the Plaza. As much as they're my audience, they're your audience.
They really are. And let me tell you, when they come here, they love the band Wonder Boogie.
Yes.
That band has its best nights when your fans are here.
You were here last New Year's Eve. It was absolutely incredible. The vibe in the room was awesome. It was a sold-out show, and New Year's Eve was just so fun because of that, because you were here. Just added a whole extra fun layer. And
do you remember New Year's Eve?
I do. The last thing I remember is, again, dancing with the band.
Right. Right. So when you get to a show like New Year's Eve in Vegas, or just any show on a Tuesday night, how do you normally prepare for it?
New Year's Eve, you prepare for it by avoiding all the people in the casino for as long as possible, so you're not too shit-faced by the time you get on stage.
I don't know if that worked this New Year's Eve, but okay.
That's probably just my normal level of drunk.
Got it.
So, Doug, I wanted to ask you, as the guy who runs the hotel here, or a piece of the hotel, why is it when your guests are staying here at the hotel, they're coming up and handing you my hotel Bibles for them to sign and take with them? Because I've never had to reorder Bibles, so I have to thank you for not just this one, but also when you came here and filmed the Dying of the Last Breed a few months before that.
For those that don't know, it's a gimmick we've run for years where we steal hotel Bibles on the road and then sell them at horrifically jacked up prices at the merch booth. And just my fans, the idea of having an autographed, personalized, stolen hotel Bible, yeah, we make a killing off of that with zero overhead. And I remember the first time that we played there that you were working there, someone from my crew overheard you saying or the housekeeping staff saying to you, "Yeah, all of the Bibles are missing from all the rooms."
I had not heard this part. This is unbelievable. We had Bibles stolen?
We had probably at least 75 Bibles stolen out of the rooms. Because I kept seeing them on the casino floor over New Year's, and when you start seeing Bibles New Year's Eve on the casino floor, I'm like, well, what is going on here? And then I see everybody getting them signed after the show, and you were hanging out at the in the lounge area, with the Wonder Boogie getting signed. And one of the things that I saw was that you do spend a lot of time with your fans, especially like on the events that you had here. You spend a lot of time just sitting around and BSing with them. It's amazing.
Sorry, hold on. I'm not done with the Bibles.
It's going in the contract next time.
How much did you spend on them? Why don't you call accounting and go, how much did those free Gideon's Bibles cost us?
Is there like some religious undertone to the show, or why not steal the magazine? Why are we stealing Bibles?
It would be, I guess, akin to if you got an autographed Bible from Marilyn Manson.
Right. Okay. Wow, that is. I'm going to look at that. I didn't know we were reordering Bibles in such large degrees, but okay. All right, what was your question? Sorry.
Oh, I don't know. Way off track now.
Wait, first of all, they can't possibly charge you for Bibles.
No, we just had to reorder them.
Do they give them to us for free?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, well, that's good. Spreading. Yeah, I guess you're spreading the love.
The holy word.
If I gave you my book for free, would you put it in every room?
Yes, sure. If you agree to come to a show once a month, that we can have you sign them for people so they can steal them.
Will we see you for New Year's Eve this year?
Oh, right on the spot.
Not unless there's a vaccine.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about the vaccine and that stuff. I read a tweet by you the other day that some comedians are going to be paying less in taxes than the president. And that's because no one's getting any work right now.
Right.
What's going on in your world? How's comedy going to survive? How do you see it coming back? How are you staying busy? I mean, it's a lot of questions, but talk us through what you've been up to and how you see this coming back.
I did 5 shows this year in late February, March, And I was the COVID tour. I was in Washington. I did the last shows in Seattle before they shut Seattle down. I flew the next day to Baltimore. I was literally sitting at sushi down the street from the club waiting to do the show. And the governor came on the TV behind sushi and said, yes, as of right now, no more groups of more than, I think it was 250. And I had like a 400 seater already sold out. But because the announcement came so close to the show, they pretended they didn't hear it.
So you did the show?
I flew to Boston. Boston shut down as soon as my plane landed. Flew back to San Francisco. They shut down. They quarantined. What's it? Stay in place.
Right, shelter in place.
So I caught the next flight. I couldn't get a flight back to Tucson. That was the end of the run. So I flew to Vegas, and I got to Vegas, I think, on a Wednesday, and they shut down Thursday night. They told everyone you have to be out of the hotel tomorrow morning. So everything, it was like dominoes falling with me till I got home. So I've been home since March 20th. And I know where all my shit is in my house. For the first time in 15 years, I know what's in every cabinet.
Where are you located?
What's in Bisbee, Arizona, down on the Mexican border.
Nice.
So that's how you've been staying busy, sorting your house out and doing your podcast?
Yeah, our podcast regulars live here. So if I occasionally have a comedian come in from out of town to visit, we'll put them on, but we just do it ourselves.
For the sake of our listeners, what's the podcast called?
The Doug Stanhope Podcast.
And you're interviewing primarily other comedians?
No, it's just us talking shit most of the time.
Oh, nice.
Just hanging out. It's like going to a bar with regulars.
Right,
So,
yeah. Your fans
and
must be
talk
loving
shit.
it. They must be loving the insights.
It's been the hardest thing to do is because none of us do anything. So
Right.
generally, if we're doing the podcast and all right, we're going to talk about what happened this week. Because generally I've been on the road or I went on vacation or I did something. And now it's been 7 months of all of us just sitting around
Doing
staring
nothing.
at TVs and fucking off. So when it comes time to podcast, there's not a lot of new stuff to talk about.
What do you see as the comeback for comedy? I mean, is comedy going to come back in a smaller setting? I know, like on some other podcasts, like Joe Rogan, he talks about having smaller crowds and other comedy clubs. Do you think that can work, or is it just until the vaccine?
I haven't done any of they've been doing comedy for a while in a lot of states where they do it social distanced, which just seems. It just seems like it would take all the air out of the room to have everyone masked or set. That's when you think about it. COVID attacks nothing worse than the comedy industry, even if you can do it, because the law is the closer people are together, the more they laugh. The more you spread them out, the more it's not fun. Mm-hmm. That's why people doing like live stand up from their living room via Zoom. That was huge at the beginning of COVID, but it was terrible.
Right.
It doesn't work.
Did you try it?
No, fuck no. I knew it wouldn't work.
Yeah. Yeah, you need the energy.
I'll come back when it's it's reasonably calm and people feel comfortable. I don't want to be the catalyst for a bunch of people getting together and then they get COVID. I mean, I could do it where I felt safe.
Right.
Because I'm on stage. I'm far away from people.
Right. You're spitting on top of them from above the stage.
Yeah, the only problem is getting there. I don't want to get on a plane. I'm high risk. You have to understand. I've been chain smoking for 40 years.
Right. Yeah, no, you're
definitely in a high risk category.
Stay where you are. Stay where you are. No, I ask because we've yesterday or the day before, the governor increased the capacity of events to 250 people, and with that, we did discuss maybe bringing back comedy sooner. In terms of, maybe you do 200 people or 150, you can do it safely, socially distant, if there's comedians that are up for the task. So that's why I was curious to get your opinion, why Lisa asked you about New Year's Eve.
There's a bunch out there that are working and don't give a shit. I'm going to wait it out. My next dates are, I think, April in the UK, if that happens.
Wow. Where in the UK?
London, Dublin, Glasgow.
Are you not a Wolves FC football fan?
Hell yeah, I am. How did you know that?
How did I know that? Because when you were playing Vegas here with us, I was watching
Don't even say playing Vegas. Say playing the Plaza.
when you're playing the
rest of
Plaza.
Vegas
The
can
only
fuck itself.
That's exactly right. The only place in Vegas for comedy is the Plaza. When you were here, there was a game on, and it was Wolves against the team that I support, which is Manchester United, and Wolves won.
Boo.
Wolves won, and I saw you tweeting something like in support of Wolves. Like, what the hell is this guy talking about? What does he know about Wolves? And then I asked you about it, which tells me how much you were remembering our conversation. I asked you about it when you were here, and you told me a story about a dog, maybe, or something happened in Wolves.
Oh, I did bury my dog in a Wolves flag.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
I
None of
have
that
a
makes sense
favorite.
for people that don't realize. Wolves is a football team located in the Midlands in England.
We did a 7-week tour in the UK. It was disastrous, but Wolverhampton was my favorite gig of all of them. So I adopted the Wolves as my favorite team. I think it's important to have a favorite team,
Always.
even if you don't watch the sport. WNBA, I'm an Aces guy. No shit.
Oh, yeah?
No question. Are the Raiders going to let people in at any point?
No, we have 4 tickets there, and they sent us this beautiful box that opens up and plays music, and your tickets are inside it. And inside of that is a note that says no one can come to the stadium this year. So it's this beautiful gift, and no one's allowed to come to the stadium. But
I heard someone describe the new stadium as it looks like a Roomba meets the Death Star. And
It's a
you
good
definitely see
description.
the Roomba.
yes, yeah, I see that now. Yeah. So they had their first game there a couple of weeks ago, and it was great. And unfortunately, no fans. Yeah, and they've said no fans through the whole season.
I'll be honest with you. I love the Raiders, and the one thing I hate about them, they're fans. Their fans suck. So I think it's fantastic that there's no fans there.
Well, when
we were theorizing about all the hardcore Vegas fans, the black hole tailgating in the parking lot at 115 degrees, wearing a Darth Vader helmet and having heat stroke right in the parking lot.
It sounds about right. When you are out here next year for the big shows at the Plaza, we'll go to a game together. No tailgating before, but we'll go to the game together.
I was thinking that I might, after the Tennessee Titans had to shut down a game for COVID, like if that keeps up, I might have to cancel my April date so I don't miss the Super Bowl.
Yeah. So you said something in one of your stand-up shows that I can't stop thinking about, and I think it's brilliant, but it makes total sense. Now, I'm not going to talk about the specific story because I didn't care. Not that I didn't care for it. I can't come across as talking about that story, but the message
Yeah, I get a lot of those stories.
The message was fantastic, which is right now with the news, how many good stories are we missing? Because all the news talks about is politics, and you told a whole long thing, and it was very funny, but the story wasn't funny.
Oh, we should bring that up. Is that special just came out during COVID? Even though it was a year old, it took that long to get it out. So my newest special is the one we filmed a year ago, Memorial Day there that you're talking about.
Yes.
It's called
The
Dying of a Last Breed. So
Dying of
that's
a Last
out on
Breed.
Amazon Prime.
Yes, exactly, and it is hilarious. And the story you tell about that and how it comes to, and every time I turn the news on, I was watching it last night, and I hate to always think of you, but I can't stop it because it is such a waste of time. All you hear is this nonsense about these two candidates, and what are all the good stories we could be missing out on happening across the world? The news didn't just stop because these two candidates existed.
Yeah, when I filmed that bit, that special, it was just talking about Trump monopolizing the news. That's before COVID and riots took over along with Trump. So I don't put the news on. As far as I'm concerned, the outside world is for business purposes only. If I can't write a bit about it that's going to be good, like I have nowhere to, like, I could write shit down, but by the time I ever get back on stage, it'll be old news. So I'm not even going to start writing until there's at least a bad vaccine.
You ran for president once? Is that?
don't ever get your questions from Wikipedia because they're just boring stories.
Would you run again?
No, fuck no.
When was that?
2000. It was for 2008, and I actually filed all the paperwork, and then it was just too much problems. Like if I talked about running on stage, if I talked about my campaign, that means all the ticket price is campaign contributions.
Oh.
And if I don't file that, then you have problems with the.
Got it. Yeah.
Do you think Kanye West knows that?
Well, Kanye West can afford a lot of accountants.
But he probably doesn't know that.
I'm not one to be trusted with not fucking up my math, and that's like 6-figure fines.
Oy,
So
oy, oy.
yeah, it wasn't worth the joke.
Yeah, I could see that for sure. How much of your content on stage is based on your real life experiences and what you're actually dealing with? Like you told a story. I say story, but it was a joke, but it was very funny about the King of Thailand.
Oh yeah.
And is that all true, or is that just
Absolutely?
Can you summarize that joke so we know
No.
what you're talking about?
Well, I was touring. It's about a 20-minute bit.
It is. It was very
but-
funny. You should
Part
watch
about the
it.
King of Thailand. I was doing a whole tour of Southeast Asia, and all the countries had different rules of do's and don'ts. But the one in Thailand is you can't make fun of the king, which I found out very late in the game is you can go to prison for 15 years for offending them or royalty itself on any level. So it became it's a long story, but that's the gist.
It was excellent. Yeah.
Wait, you did make fun of him? Did you go to jail?
For that 20 minutes I did after I got out of that stupid fucking country.
So that is real. All your stuff on stage is based on your real life experiences.
It's true to a fault, where I know that sometimes, well, if I add this in, it would be funnier, but that didn't happen. I'm a stickler for honesty.
I love it.
Speaking of nonsense, how did you get 86 from Caesars?
Oh yeah.
Are you able to talk about that?
Yeah, they still haven't told me why I'm 86th from every Caesars property for life.
Well, they just got new owners, so maybe they'll undo it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know if they're open. I lasted longer than Caesars did.
I heard
They
it was
banned me, and then they had to shut their doors.
I heard it was because you gave them a poor review on Yelp.
Yeah,
Is that true?
The Rio is evidently a Caesars property, and I left a very scathing review on TripAdvisor and Yelp about the Rio after staying there, and then all of a sudden I got a letter, unsigned letter, but I did fact check that I am banned, that says I'm no longer welcome at any of their properties. I also got one of those like free junkets to Laughlin, Nevada,
Okay.
and just call and make a reservation. And I go, fuck it. I had time, and my tour manager needed a vacation. I go, me and Chaley, we'll go. And I spent like an hour on hold, and then got disconnected and called back and spent another hour on hold, and then went through all the bullshit. And then they started jacking me up. Okay, we just need a credit card for the like $79 fee. I go, wait, it says free vacation. $79 a person. I could drive there for less money, you fucking assholes. And I think I did tell the girl that I hope her baby died or something to that effect, and hung up. So it might be that.
Okay.
It might be that.
That could have done it. That
Could have been
there.
that customer abuse thing. I'm surprised Steve Sisolak himself didn't barge into my office and tell me I'm banned from all Caesars properties.
Jesus. That's pretty good.
So you don't love babies or kids.
I hate babies. I hate children.
You do?
Yes. I have friends that they tell me, oh yeah, we're pregnant, she's having a baby, and I don't talk to them again. And I immediately in my mind, I take them out of my phone.
You make a mental note not to hang out with those people anymore.
Yeah. Tell me about you. What's going on? Have you been open
Yeah,
I don't know what goes on in the outside world.
we opened on June the 4th. We shut down March the 17th, and at the governor's order.
Don't panic. I'm just making a drink while I listen.
No worries. What are you drinking?
I don't know yet. We'll see what we got.
Okay, so we got shut down on March 17th, and we were closed for, I want to say, 86 days until June the 4th, and we reopened the first day that we could.
It's funny, that shutdown didn't stop your monthly mailers from coming out, because I kept getting them.
Well, I hope it did. No, we kept sending them?
Of course.
They were sent out, but
you
for
couldn't book them.
coupons months later.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, we kept
Oh
sending them
for
out.
dates once we but that was difficult because we kept talking about it and saying, well, are we going to send these not knowing if we're going to be allowed to have it reopened by then or not? I believe we got told we could open on June the 4th on June the 1st. So we got like 3 days to prepare for it. And then it kept changing and leading up to that. But we've been open. We haven't had any comedy. We haven't had any Wonder Boogie. We opened the steakhouse. Some of the restaurants are now on.
They can't even have buffets, can they?
You could do buffets. Well, it's funny. Some of the buffets started doing self-service. Sorry, not self-service, but a server brings you your food. And is that really a buffet at that point? But we don't have a buffet, so it didn't impact us. But I think there's like one buffet still open at this point. Maybe a couple. But you know what? It's been better than we expected. But it's slow during the week, busy on the weekends. And it's much better being open than being closed. So at least we're open.
It's also slow as shit in the summer there anyway.
It always is, right? But this was a little reversed because we had no conventions, and yet it was still a lot of people, because California is still locked down. So a lot of people are driving out here from California. And we really don't have much going on in terms of entertainment, in terms of the arena that we have outside. We haven't been able to use that. We just basically are a hotel, pool deck, and a casino. But people are having a good time. People are coming out, and we're starting to see it get busier now.
I would assume that you don't have to put up with a lot of the same shit that middle America Dollar Generals have, with people saying, "Fuck you, I'm not wearing a mask."
we did in the beginning, and then for some reason, once it became mandated, it just became something like, you ain't coming in the building if you don't have it on, so don't even bother. And every night we have like one drunk guy who refuses to do it, and security talks to him, and then they either leave or they put it on. But it hasn't been bad considering some of the stories we've heard about people just absolutely refusing flat out. You see the guys who don't want to wear it, and they put it on their chin, and they carry like either a cigarette or a cup with them for 8 hours so that they don't have to. They can just say, "Well, I'm smoking. I don't have to put it on." But there's nothing we can do about that. It's been mostly well respected. We do temperature checks when you come in. We do mandatory masks and all of that stuff. So it's been well received overall.
Yeah, security in Vegas has got enough of especially downtown, old school Vegas.
Yeah.
It still has that feeling of, they're going to break my legs if I say no.
Everyone,
they're going to take me in the back room if I don't wear my mask.
In the old days, you go in the back room if you were cheating. Now, if you don't wear your mask, you go in the back room. Yeah, everyone's been pretty respectful of it. It's been that's been one upside, and honestly, it's been nice to have the team back in the office. Everyone was at home. We were shut down, so there was really nothing here. So it's just been nice to get people back. And now, as we can start doing more events, we're doing our bingo tournaments. We're doing we're looking at the comedy club. So as we can start doing a little bit more, I think it's going to get busier and busier. And then maybe next summer it gets back to normal. Maybe.
Hopefully.
And then I predict we have the Roaring 20s.
Ooh,
when it's all back to normal?
That's the best prediction I've heard so far.
When it's all back to normal. Next summer is the start of the Roaring 20s.
I like that.
So that's your third cigarette. Not that I'm counting, but that's your third cigarette since we started. How many do you smoke a day?
Well, if I'm working in the crawl space, none. If I'm sitting here trying to come up with some funny shit to say, I pour a cocktail and I chain smoke.
So what did you pour? What did you end up pouring?
Just some shitty whiskey.
Nice. Nice.
I'll tell if you're trying to get some decent acts in there, I know some that are working.
What
Yeah,
does that mean?
we'll have to get them connected with our
Oh yeah,
entertainment manager.
yeah. We'd love to. Yeah, we are thinking about that exactly, and how we want to start booking that room. Maybe in middle of end of October, early November. I think Halloween's going to be packed here because again, California's still closed. A lot of places, so you can come out here, and everyone's gonna. I think Halloween's going to be a huge crowd.
Interesting fact: worst night of the year for stand-up comedy.
Really?
Maybe just worst night of the year. Period.
What?
I'm not a huge Halloween fan,
No.
but for stand-up, yeah, never book Halloween because people are the center of attention. That's the one night everyone is on stage as an individual because they dressed up like a fucking idiot in a gorilla suit
Right.
and they with their tits hanging out. They don't want to go and sit and listen to someone for an hour. They want to go win a contest or.
Do you go listen to stand up yourself? Do you go? It's just to
No.
support friends
Oh
or
God, no!
no?
It's terrible.
There's no one you enjoy listening to.
There's a few, but I'm never around comedy. When I'm home, I'm 100 miles from the closest comedy club, and when I'm on the road, I'm not gonna duck out after my show to go watch more.
Right.
It's bad enough I have to sit through my opening acts I've heard 1,000 times.
Oh, I thought she was very funny. Your opening act.
Oh yeah,
The girl at the Plaza, anyway.
Olivia Grace. Yeah, she's fantastic. She's
Olivia
here in
Grace.
Bisbee. She lives here now, so I do get to see her. I fortunately have a good enough sized place with a lot of yard, so I can have people over in town and be socially distanced and outdoors, but still be able to see the screen for football.
Yeah. How was the Netflix special that you did at the Plaza? How's it been doing?
Sorry, Amazon Prime.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Amazon Prime.
Yeah, for all those reasons you were saying you can't repeat the stories.
Yeah.
Yeah, Netflix didn't want to run them either.
Right. Yes. How has the Amazon Prime special been doing?
I have no idea. I assume people are getting it. I don't look at numbers.
You don't track it. You don't really care. It is what it is.
Yeah, it's. I'm fortunately I've lived well within my means, so I'm not panicking about where money's coming from for a while.
I was thinking more from my own selfish knowledge of how much exposure is the Plaza getting on the Amazon Prime special.
I would assume
A lot.
a good amount. Yes.
Yeah.
It was the #1 special when it was released for weeks.
Well, there we
So,
go. That's great.
Yeah.
That's good. And did you just do a new book?
Book just came out on audible.com. It's exclusive on Audible until February, and then we'll have hard copies out, and that's doing well. It's called No Encore for the Donkey.
It's a great name.
If you like to listen to your books rather than read them, that's my fan base. Not a big reading fan base that I have.
I do all Audible myself.
And you haven't listened to it yet.
No, I downloaded it. I started it.
You should have finished it before this goddamn interview.
You would have thought so, right? But I thought we were just going to be talking about stand-up comedy in the podcast, not No Encore for the Donkey.
Who else? Who have you had there for stand-ups that you enjoy that have done well?
So probably other than yourself, Tom Green did really good.
All right.
Nick DiPaolo was here.
Oh yeah, Nick DePauw was great. Yeah, well, very political, very political.
Oh,
but,
he's getting worse. I don't know if you follow his Twitter, but yeah, I have never seen stand-up comedy bifurcated like this
right.
since COVID. There's like this now. There's a right wing and left wing of comedy, which there never was.
So who would be more left wing? Because I know Nick DePaulo is definitely the most right wing.
Yeah, he's definitely on a tear. He's got a whole head full of hate there. But no, generally most comics are left leaning.
Right.
Like I don't know. Like is DePaulo even pro Trump? Like he might be that far.
No, I think he is at this point. Yeah.
All right. Back to comics you enjoy. Better yet, tell me comics that you've had that you fucking hated.
That
or
totally
couldn't draw
bummed.
Flies,
That
or acted like divas.
There's a couple that totally bummed.
Yeah, but I don't think any of them act like divas when they were here.
No?
No. I mean,
Kevin Farley?
Kevin Farley was great when he was here.
The one thing I really liked about Tom Green was he was like you. He hung out at the bar afterwards and just drank with everybody. It was just like a party afterwards, just down to earth, cool.
He's a sweetheart, and
Yeah.
he really is like that. He does hang out, and he's very, very gentle.
Oh, you know what? There was one that I found was too much. Maybe I shouldn't say it on here. He every word.
Do it.
The ones that have been the divas, believe it or not, have been the ones that are locals. They're the ones that have been the biggest divas with, wanting extra things and all that type of stuff. That show
I
up
did
late.
not expect much, and you guys, every time I've been there, have treated me to a point where I go, do they think that I'm bigger than I am, or?
It's a matter of just taking care of people. When I think it was a mishap with your transportation back to the airport on your last shot. It was on New Year's Day.
Yeah, Gary, you specifically. Gary was always there to. We thought you wanted the other shuttle. You scheduled the hotel shuttle where they're gone. So Gary himself pulled his car around and drove me and my wife and my friend to the airport.
Nice, Gary.
And they sent us one of those giant black and white old school Plaza posters.
One of the canvas signs that we have in the rooms. So yeah, I just whipped the house car around, and I was like, well, I guess I'll just drive them to the airport. I mean, what else are we gonna do, you know? But that's just a matter of what we do, you know. We just try to just take care of people, you know. And I hope everybody in your party always has a good time while they're here. You know, everybody seems happy, and everybody, all of your guests seem happy too. So I mean, that's kind of the most important part of it. You know, at the end of the day,
everyone's always happy with the Plaza. I think the first time we did the Plaza, we were doing a fan football weekend. So it was a show. We'll do the show or two shows Saturday night, probably just one. I hate doing two shows. And then Sunday we all hung out in the sports book. So I'll be all day Sunday. I'll be in the sports book and come hang out. And so we get to meet everyone, on Sunday. And that was the first time. And that was a hit.
I have a question. Where does your plaid jacket look come from?
Actually, the American Distributing. The days when I was doing telemarketing with Steve Sisolak, my mother used to send me all those goofy plaid 70s jackets, like WKRP jackets. So we dress up all the sales staff in these stupid thrift store jackets. And yeah, that's where it started. And on and off, I'd wear stupid shit like that on stage. But I think it was when I found a pair of yellow pants that went with a perfect gold yellow plaid jacket and yellow pants, and I went, oh shit, if I had white shoes with this, that'd be a full outfit, not just the jacket. And then I just started. I don't have a lot of interests, so when I'm on the road for 6 weeks driving, all we do is either try to find good sushi and then find all the thrift stores in town looking for old 70s vintage shit.
Nice.
So yeah, now I have a closet full like a hoarder.
And all your fans dress up like that as well.
Yeah, I love that when my fans dress up like Rocky Horror Picture Show. They put on their best, stupid, loud 70s jackets. But I was just looking in my closet of my sea of 70s suits and ties and shirts and pants, and I went, now I can put a rack of masks to go with the suit.
Do you have any?
Here's a red mask that will go with that suit, and
We got to send you a Plaza mask.
oh, nice. Yes, 212 Van Dyke Street, Bisbee, Arizona,
Send him like
85603.
It's on its way.
All right.
I got it on file. We're good.
You'll get a couple of them.
I always give out my address on my podcast for people to send me dumb shit. I love it.
That's funny. What have you gotten? What have you received?
You see, I don't know if the glare is too much. Can you see that neon funhouse sign? Someone said that. I just look around and half the stuff, I go, I don't know where that came from. I guess a fan sent it.
Okay, so back to the comedy here. I got some. I now I have all my information. I'm not good with the names. So some of the better ones we had were Jamie Kennedy, Nick DiPaolo, Tom Green, and one that everybody really liked that I did not like was Bobby Slayton.
Oh yeah, Slayton. I first saw him. He was one of the first headliners I worked with when I started working the Riviera.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he was a little much for me personally. I just was like, man, but people love him. He had a good following.
I remember I was just a kid sitting in the back of the room watching him. My wife, she's such a cunt. My wife, she busts my mom. My wife is awful. I just divorce her. Like, you wouldn't even have an act if you divorced this horrible person.
Right,
Right?
exactly. That would be all you could talk about.
It's like walking around going, I hate this shirt. Can you imagine having to go through life with this shirt on? Change your fucking shirt.
So then
This is flawed.
the guy who was booking our room says to me, "Hey, we have the opportunity to book this guy. He's pretty well known. You know, the only thing you should probably know is he's a little out there in terms of some of his views." I was like, "Well, I don't mind that. We can push the envelope." They're like, "Yeah." Like, he said some insensitive things. I said, "That's cool. Like, that's fine." You know, we had Doug Stanhope. How much more insensitive can you be? It's just jokes. And we're pretty cool with that stuff. So he says, fine. So then he books this guy, and we start getting a lot of inquiries about him, and way more than usual. So I decided just to Google the gentleman, and his name was Owen Benjamin.
Oh, yes. Yes.
And so I looked at his page. I was like, this isn't comedy. This is hate. I mean, this is insane. And the guy was like, yeah, and the owner's Jewish. Are you sure you guys are going to feel comfortable? It's like, absolutely not. Have you seen some of the things this guy's saying out there? So that was Nick's. That was the guy whose name I couldn't remember. But
Where do you think the line is between like comedy or like hate speech?
Boils down to intent most of the time. Like, what are you trying to say? I've have a history of things and inappropriate words, but the point is never hatred. Or if the point is hatred, it's not towards a group. But Owen Benjamin, who I met in 2016, I don't think I've ever seen his act, but he's a really nice guy. And I heard something made him flip his lid, and then he started like getting banned from, like, people would protest venues that tried to hire him. I don't know the full story, but yeah, I know he kind of went a little.
Yeah, neither did I, but I thought it was hilarious that the guy was like, "Nah, he just tells some bad jokes." And I googled the guy, and I was like, "Yeah, this is not just bad jokes." And we got to be a little bit more sensitive to that, so we took a pass on that one, which was probably a smart move.
So Doug, who do you think would fit well into our showroom and be some people we should try to look at for, you know, the end of 2020 and into 2021? Do you have any recommendations?
The one that I know that's out working that is really, really funny and had his own controversy, but one of the really silly ones, Shane Gillis. Shane is the guy that got hired for Saturday Night Live and then fired 2 days later when they found some old shit on a podcast where he was allegedly making fun of Chinese people, but it was in character. It was like they took it completely out of context. And I'm trying to think of guys that are actually out there working now. He's one, but again, I'll do some research for you.
You're the man. You're the man. Well, Doug, I really thank you for taking the time to be with us. We just started this podcast, and we're having fun with it, and we appreciate you taking the time to give us some of your insights and share some stories with us. So thank you.
Absolutely. You guys, I was, when you were gone, looking for a name to throw under the bus, and I appreciate that. I was telling Gary that you guys take care of us so well. Oscars, like, I walk in, I feel like a fucking A-lister and hooked up, and you make me look good.
That's what we like to do. That's what it's all about. So thank you, and we hope we can have you back here performing soon, and hopefully we'll do many, many more shows together as we get into better times.
Absolutely.
You can learn more about Doug Stanhope at dougstanhope.com or at Doug Stanhope on Twitter, and on Patreon at www.patreon.com/StanhopePodcast. Thank you so much once again for joining us on the corner of Main Street. We'll be back again soon, but in the meantime, follow us on social. On Twitter and Instagram, it's at Plaza Pod. And on Facebook, find us at Plaza Podcast. Or go right to the top and tweet Jonathan at Jonathan Jossel. We'll see you next time from right here on the corner of Main Street.